B-Marsh Boxing back at it with another post-fight review. 26-2, now 27-2. Carl Frampton, the Irishman, fighting against an American from Toledo, Ohio. Tyler Mccreary, 16-0, 7 KOs. Now, Mccreary was definitely at the height in the reach advantage by far. Definitely had the 10-inch reach advantage, you know what I mean? But didn't even matter. The first two rounds, Carl Frampton came through and established his jab. You know what I mean? He was getting closer with the jab, closing the distance. The other guy was giving up his height, the Mccreary guy. You know what I mean? For a guy with a 10-inch reach advantage, he became a hooker in there. You know what I mean? Playing into the style that Carl Frampton wants him to get into. You know what I mean? Carl Frampton was very comfortable in this fight, getting on the inside, head on man chest, and banging to the body. You know what I mean? Throwing all kind of shots, uppercuts, body shots, straight lead right hands. You know what I mean? Because this Mccreary guy, after he throws his jab with his left hand, he doesn't bring that left hand back to his face or to his ear like a telephone, you know what I mean? He keeps his left hand low right by his waist, you know what I mean? But he does have his right hand up. You check it, that's right after he throws a jab. So he's getting countered every time by the man Carl Frampton. Carl Frampton was going to the body with hellacious fashion, hellacious body shots, ripping the body, you know what I mean? Round five is where he began to dig into the body, throwing them Mexican type of left hooks to the liver, and he was catching the man early and often. You know what I mean? Looked like the man actually wanted to quit after round five, the Mccreary guy. You know what I mean? But he weathered the storm. But but round six, man, he couldn't hide. There was nothing he could do. He got caught with a left hook to the liver. And he backed up and he took his 8 count. You know what I mean? He went down on one knee. He bent the knee, on bended knee like Boys to Man. The man just didn't want to, you know what I mean? He couldn't take them body shots. You know what I'm saying? So his corner dug into him after round six, after he hit the canvas, and they was asking him, where's the fire at? Like, he has the reach and height advantage, but he's giving up all that, especially on the inside. Where, like I said, Carl Frampton was very comfortable tonight, fighting on the inside. You know what I mean? He established it with his jab, and the jab set up everything for the rest of the night. You know what I'm saying? This tall guy only landed three jabs for the whole fight. Three jabs for a dude who has a 10-inch reach advantage. You got to give the man Carl Frampton his props, especially for a guy who hadn't been in the ring in almost a year. You know what I mean? His longest layover as a professional. You know what I mean? But that didn't matter. Round seven, like I said, this guy came out and he hurt the man Carl Frampton. You know what I mean? They got into some exchanges, throwing shot after shot, left hook after straight right hand, and he hurt the man Carl Frampton. Then he caught him with the body shot. You know what I mean? Backed the man Carl Frampton up. But that was about it. You know what I'm saying? Probably a good 30 seconds of good work. Carl Frampton didn't do too much for the rest of the round, but neither did this Mccreary guy. But I just gave him the round, you know what I mean, because that was his best effort. So that's one round I gave him so far out of seven. 8 and 9 were all Carl Frampton. Again, Carl Frampton drops the guy in round nine with a double left hook to the liver, Mickey Ward style, you know what I mean? Bangs that left hook to the liver after closing the distance, throwing all kinds of shots. Two left hooks to the liver. The guy takes a step back and he takes his 8 count, grimacing in pain. He couldn't hide it. He couldn't keep a poker face, you know what I mean? And then round 10 was all Carl Frampton, you know what I mean? So easy work for the Irishman, now campaigning at 130 pounds. Um, I believe when he fought, uh, his last fight, matter of fact, was against Josh Warrington for the IBF title. He was challenging for the IBF title, and he took a loss. Now he's camping it at 130, and there's plenty of fighters over there on top rank side. You know what I mean? Potentially he might fight Jamel Herring. You know what I mean? Jamel Herring and him took a picture. Actually, that's my thumbnail, as you can see. But really and truly, Jamel Herring should have been in a unification with Miguel Burchard, but Miguel Burchard, for some reason, isn't interested in fighting Jamel Herring. He's actually waiting the winner of tonight's fight, which was supposed to be, and I'm assuming it still is, a WBC 130-pound title eliminator with Oscar Valdez versus some other kid who's like 13-1, because his first opponent that Valdez was supposed to fight for this WBC title eliminator came in over 11 pounds and he wasn't eligible to fight. You know what I mean? The man was 11 pounds overweight, very unprofessional, especially for a title eliminator. You know what I mean? But it is what it is, man. I think that Carl Frampton has plenty of options over here on Top Rank on the ESPN Plus side. Jamal Herring, Miguel Burchard, Oscar Valdez. That's good enough action for him if he can get any of those guys within the next 24 months. Excuse me, 12 months, especially. How about both? Two of those four guys I mentioned would be good enough. We shall see. The man Carl Frampton's on a quest to try to become the greatest Irishman boxer of all time. He is a two different division champion, IBF champion at 122 and WBA champion at 130, 126. Short lived, although. We shall see what he does if he makes any noise at 130. B Marsh Boxing, leave your thoughts and comments, and I'm out of it. Oh, what's up, Naota? I see you in the chat, dogs. What's happening, dude? What's happening, dude? Naota says, hey, finally caught you live, fam. Yeah, no BS, man. I ain't seen you up on this joint. I don't even know if I seen you live. It might be, it has. It's been a minute. Naota's in the chat. Said Frampton did his thing about as expected. He's still a pretty good fighter, but the real bad boys at 130 are going to be too big and strong for him. I got Herring outboxing him. Yeah, Herring is definitely, the reach and the height advantage. You know what I mean? That's all Jamel Herring, you know what I'm saying? Jamel Herring's a more comfortable fighter at 130 pounds rather than at lightweight here on Top Rank. And, that's one thing I could give Top Rank credit for, you know what I mean? Jamel Herring definitely gets more TV time when he's on Top Rank ESPN. You know what I mean? And that's not necessarily because when he was on PBC they neglected him. He just wasn't that star over there. PBC didn't take advantage of him being a Marine. A guy who served in the United States military or the Marines. They could have taken advantage of his story and tried to, market him to veterans and people in the armed forces. You know what I mean? Top Rank has done a wonderful job doing that. But, on the real, he was campaigning at lightweight over there on PBC. Lost to the likes of Dennis Shafikov and I believe he lost to Ladarius Webb. You know what I mean? Excuse me, Ladarius Miller, the guy who had that controversial decision versus Jezreel Corrales. And I believe that was at 130, you know what I mean? So, I believe, he can get some good fights with the guys over here on Top Rank. It's just, you know, it's more winnable fights for him. And like I said, he's now a world champion and he's getting more exposure, you know what I mean? Although there are some good fights to be made over on the PBC side at 130, you know what I mean? But I really doubt that there'll be any cross promotions. All right, where we at? Notice in the chat says Valdez replacement opponent is actually really good. 5'9", 122-pounder that filed in late notice, but he's actually a solid prospect, albeit two weight classes down from tonight's fight. Yeah, so I thought the guy was a featherweight. You know what I mean? I think they said his last fight he campaigned at featherweight. And they showed some highlights when he got dropped, but he came back off the canvas and stopped his opponent in the seventh round. I'm pretty sure I seen that fight. You know what I mean? But we'll see what Valdez does. I expect him to win, especially now that you mentioned that the guy is a 5'9", 122-pounder. I thought he was a full-fledged featherweight. You know what I mean? Delta says, yeah, Top Rank gave him a career revival for sure. No question, man. Like on Veterans Day, man, they do it big for Jamel Herring. And, Jamel Herring's a guy that I've seen fight live at least twice at the D.C. Armory on this come-up. Especially his last fight versus the guy from D.C., Lamont Roach. I seen both of them on their come up fights early, back when Golden Boy was with Al Heyman. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was interesting seeing that fight, and you know, we'll see what Jamel Herring does in the future. I'm looking forward to this fight with Carl Frampton. You know what I mean? So big ups to Nelta. Thanks for coming through in the chat. Thanks for everybody who hit that thumbs up and everybody who came through. Leave your thoughts and comments. Let me know what y'all think about Carl Frampton and whom would you like to see him fight next. Be Marsh Boxing. Leave your thoughts and comments, and I'm gone. Peace.